Hello and welcome to day 4 of Vlogmas. As you can see, I'm out in the countryside today and I'm heading to this church here because there is a Christmas tree festival. Now, I am quite new to Christmas tree festivals. I can remember my sister going to one in the Midlands probably 15 years ago, and I just didn't know what she was talking about. So this church here, which is local to me, holds its Christmas tree festival on the first weekend in December, and it has taken me several years to work out that is always in the same weekend of the year. So I am here today to take a look at the Christmas tree festival. And for those of you who don't know what is a Christmas tree festival, well, if you're a flower arranger, you probably have visited flower festivals which are held, well, I live in the southeast of England, which are held in our English churches. So it's a lovely thing to do on a summer's afternoon. Go to a nice cool church, there's always a cup of tea and a slice of cake, and there might even be a raffle and a sales table, and then you can get to look at all the flower arrangements in the church which have normally been arranged to a theme. What I'm expecting to see, and what I've seen in the past, is the church decorated with Christmas trees. So these might well be conventional Christmas trees that have been decorated to a theme, or they might have been made by the local nursery or play group with lots of childlike decorations. But I'm pretty certain there will be a cup of tea and a nice slice of cake waiting for me. And as it's nearly lunchtime, I'm planning to stop here and have my lunch. So I have taken, I think you can say I walked here this morning. It's about 20-minute walk from my home, and if I'm clever enough and if I remember, I will overlay a piece of footage which shows me walking up through some allotments and across the muddy paths. And I also just stopped briefly to look at the hop poles. So this area I live in is known as the Garden of England, and I live in a brewing town. So the hop poles, which are like tall wooden telegraph poles, are what the structure for growing the hops, and they're grown up strings. And in the olden days, people would harvest the hops by cutting them down, but they'd have to be on really tall stilts to reach the top of the hop poles. But today it's done mechanically, so I thought you might be interested in that. And of course, if you know more about Christmas tree festivals than I do, leave me in the comments. Let me know what the history of them is. Why do we have them? I would love to find out more about them. And if you're watching this in the UK or anywhere else in the world, and you also have Christmas tree festivals which are coming up at this time of the year, why don't you leave details in them in the comments section, and then anyone else who's watching this video who may be near to you can have a chance to have a look as well. So if you're lucky, or if I'm lucky, I know there's another Christmas tree festival in a village which is a drive away, and my plan is to drive over there to have a look at that Christmas tree festival. It's in a really historic village nearby. So let's go walking. So I'm heading down this footpath which was well used during lockdown, and the crops have been picked. I'm not quite sure what's growing at the moment. I think it might be oilseed, ready for a spring harvest. So this church here, surrounded by a low flint wall. I can see quite a few cars in the car park. There's yew trees growing round, and then the church tower. It's a rather unusual shape. And I'm not sure whether you can hear it, but I can hear the distant hum of cars on the nearby motorway. So we'll make our way through this little gate with its dog hole. Closing the gate behind us with a clunk, jump down the step, and here is the back of the church. So quite a change in the weather since yesterday. It was very damp, wet and cold yesterday, and as you can see, blue skies and sunshine. And although I'm wrapped up, I'm thinking on the way home I might take my scarf off. I've made my way round to the front of the church, and the porch is decorated with tinsel, and there are some mini Christmas trees on both sides of the church door. This is the view of the altar, and walking past, looking at the Advent candles, and the little white notice underneath was explaining which of the saints were being celebrated or commemorated by the lighting of each of the candles. So 5 white candles, one for the 4 Sundays of Advent, and then the last candle in the middle for Christmas Day. There's a mix of fresh trees and artificial. This was one of the artificial ones, strung with silvery beads and bells. And off to the side of the altar, a fresh Christmas tree with lots of white fairy lights and red baubles, which look really great with the colourful decorations around the altar. I think this tree was one of my favourites. It's Pam's Christmas jumper tree, and she has knitted every single one of these jumpers, and they've all got a Christmassy motif on them. And right at the top there's a little teddy bear in a purple jumper, and then as I started to look more closely, there are balls of wool nestled inside the tree like baubles. Let me know in the comments which Christmas jumper catches your eye. There are trees in every direction that you look, and what I ended up doing is going around twice just to take everything in. This tree made me giggle. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And then right at the top, instead of a Christmas angel, there's a loo roll. I really liked this tree too. Really, really eye-catching with its red tree skirt, shiny red tinsel and huge silk poppies. I rather like this chap too, a little Christmas gnome and a very traditional tree alongside with the gold pennies underneath. Are you a traditional tree fan, or would you like something a little bit different? And off here is a Peppa Pig themed tree, white tinsel base with bright pink tinsel and Peppa Pig all over the place. I've got so many favourite bits, I don't know which I like the best. These are the steps, stone steps leading up to one of the church towers, and it's been made out into this little woodland world with Sylvanian families. It's absolutely delightful, and I always make a point in looking in this little cubby hole whenever I come for the Christmas tree festival or the flower festival. There's always something really delightful to look at. Looks like someone's left the lid up on the toilet there. Little bath and wash hand basin, and then the Christmas rabbit and toadstools all around. And across the way, there's a book tree. These pew ends are a lovely idea. Wrapped up cones of sheet music, tied off with a gingham ribbon, and then some festive greenery and touches of red. And then another circle round, back to the altar. I don't know quite how I missed Father Christmas the first time round, but here is more decorations leading up the steps to the pulpit, and then the organ pipes behind. That was absolutely lovely, just a really low-key event, a chance for the community to get together, and I did have my slice of cake, coffee and walnut, which was absolutely delicious. Don't go away, I have got in the car and heading off to Christmas Tree Festival number 2. The road is closed, so I've parked at the bottom of the hill in the village car park. Christmas lights starting to come on. Shelley's tea room, highly recommended. And this is the square, which if you like period dramas, you might recognise. And off in the corner is the entrance to Chillin Castle. And here we are approaching the church. I hope you enjoy this next snippet of clips of some of my favourite Christmas trees. There was so much to look at, and of course I did stop for another slice of cake.
Welcome to our church.
Grundle, Chillin, part of the same group, do you think? Godmesham, the Kingswood benefits, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, it's in benefits, yeah. Lots of stars on it. Oh, the telescope, that's a nice idea, little white socks. And nets.
That was another lovely church flower festival, and although I've been to the village many times before, I have never actually been inside the church. It's absolutely beautiful. So this was very much emphasis on fresh Christmas trees, I would say. There were some artificial. Most of them were lit with fairy lights, and it's about 3 o'clock now, so it's getting a little bit darker, and everything just looks so twinkly and magical. It was absolutely gorgeous. So if you are local to Kent, you might want to add this particular church flower festival, Christmas tree festival, to your list of Christmas activities. I think they're open from 1 till 6 in the evenings from now up until the 12th of December. So thanks for watching the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Join me now as I head back to my car and take in some of the historic sights of this absolutely fabulous little village. And this is Chillin Castle, and I was lucky enough to visit the grounds last summer, I think it was, perhaps the summer before. They were absolutely beautiful. And then behind me, growing in this old tree, are balls of mistletoe. And just as I headed back to my car, the church bells started ringing, so it's really left me in the festive spirit.